Alright, welcome to the tier list video. We're ranking all of these Pixelings based on how good they are in PvP alone. PvE doesn't matter, we don't care. And this is not my tier list alone. This is actually made by a group of people I was invited into to make a tier list for Pewdiepie's Pixelings because not a lot of people were happy with the Silly Slimes one. So we just decided to make a new one. Alright, so let's get started. The bottom of D tier, the worst Pixeling in the game, is Berg. In my opinion, and a lot of others, he just doesn't have the tools he needs. Damage isn't there, the HP isn't there, 3 charge poison, especially on a melee target, is not very good. So he's definitely the bottom of D. The next one on the list is Rudy. Where's Rudy? Rudy barely skimped out from being the worst in the game. 5 charge bubble is just way too much. Although she does have ranged, which is good, but that 5 charge bubble is just way too long. Doesn't have the HP to stay alive that long, and the damage isn't that impressive either. If it was a 4 charge bubble, maybe Rudy would see more use, maybe C, I don't know, maybe B, but 5 is just way too much for Rudy. Right after Rudy would be Sally. Where's Sally? Ah, there she is. Right there, next to Rudy. Same thing with Berg. Melee, 3 charge, poison. Although poison may be better on a melee unit like this, which is why it's above Berg, because it'll be hitting targets like Floss or Gato, and that'll be really good, which is why she's above Berg. Right after Sally, we got Maya. Where's Maya? Right here. Maya is also melee. Heal isn't bad, but it's also random, which isn't that good. Random charges, that kind of stuff, aren't the greatest. It's uncontrollable, and you don't know when she's just gonna heal the target you don't want, and that's bad. Alright, next one. This one, a bit more controversial. Claudia as D. She is Troll, which is good. Troll is good, but she's very squishy for the damage she does, and a 3 charge heavy attack, especially considering Ceres exists, is just not that great. And the damage is kind of underwhelming too. Like whenever there's Claudia, it's just, even in all troll teams, it's really underwhelming. And at the last one in D tier is gonna be a very, very controversial one, I'm sure. Sorry, Pink Snake Gang members. Cobra, bottom of D tier. He's just trying to be like damage HP mix that doesn't really isn't good for melee. Most good melees either have a lot of HP and little damage, or a lot of damage and little HP, and a mixed just really doesn't work too well. Also, the poison, while it's good, it will be hitting tanks. It's just a lot of the times it will be hitting Jennifer. Can be said the same for Sally, which is why Sally is also still D tier, but especially considering it takes a rare spot, Cobra is just not worth to put on your team. It is just, you have to do so much to make it work. And that'll be finishing off D tier. So C tier. Very bottom of C tier, we got Edgar. Edgar's ranged, which makes it better than these Pixelings, ignoring Rudy. Range is good, but Drain is just kind of there. The damage HP, once again, isn't the greatest, but it's not too terrible, and I could see people running Maya and actually seeing success compared to these Pixelings down here. Next one, Tusky.
Tusky is in the bottom of C tier because she doesn't have a lot of health, and while she has pretty decent damage, not really what you look for in a tank, pretty small heal, very weak to poison, and just all around not a great Pixeling to have on your team.
Next one on the list is Barry. It's Barry, right here. Barry is an interesting one. I feel like he has good HP, and his heavy attack is really, really good. So Barry can be used on certain teams. Not all teams, but I feel like there are some niche times where Barry can actually be very good and shine pretty well. Also, side note, Barry has a really good skin. After Barry's Bob. Bob is pretty tanky and is also a good support. With strength and back. It is 4 charges, so it takes a little bit, but it's not as absurd as the 5 charge of Rudy. And also strength and back is a pretty good charge ability, and it can help a lot in a lot of teams. It's got some niche uses, and Bob is pretty good. So I could see people running Bob and seeing success. Aquino, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't... He's C tier. He's better than Sally and Burr because a lot of the times the stun and the poison just isn't going to be doing too much for tanks, especially because Jennifer. But the heavy attack will always be good, unless it hits a bubble, of course. But it's just slightly better. I could see people running this and using it and doing well. Next we got Comet. C tier, probably one of the worst mythics in the game, but still usable. I can see people using Comet and seeing success, but all the other mythics in the game are just better options. Like, Comet is literally just Jennifer, but shrouded. That is what people say. And heal, I feel like Comet's heal should be a little bit more. I feel like it's kind of underwhelming, and really doesn't do much for her. Or him, I don't know what gender Comet is, but it's kind of underwhelming. I feel like it could be a bit more, or it could be more like Floss's heal and these 3 charge, but even more. I feel like that would do Comet better, especially if you try to run her with like mass energized teams. Having a 3 charge there than a 2 charge, it'll just be... I feel like Comet could be better if her charge is fixed, or not fixed, but like made better. And after Comet is Hank. Hank is just... The thing is, I put Hank above Comet. That's what we did, because Hank only takes a rare spot, while Comet takes up a mythic spot, which is a lot more valuable. And Hank isn't that great. The damage is just ridiculously low, and so you're not going to be doing it. It makes it good for, like, if you're running all troll and you want tank. Hank would honestly be a good option, because it's doing such little damage. It won't be able to outdamage a firebolt, meaning your trolls can still target whatever you want it to, assuming all the luck goes through and all that, yada yada. But it would probably be a good option for that. But also, Frenzy's pretty good on tanks, because you always want them to be hitting your tank. So when you hit your tank, it's just more rewarding. And after Hank, the bottom of C tier, where's Dean? There he is. I feel like Dean has a lot of potential. It's just no one's doing anything with it. Like, I feel like he could be good. He could be good. He's better than Cobra for sure, by a long shot. And I say that because Dean has a lot of health and not a lot of damage, which is what I was talking about earlier. Cobra has a little bit of a mix, which really isn't that good for melee units. While Dean not only has a lot of HP, also has Shrouded, which is just generally useful, and also the 2 charge stun can be useful, because stun is really good at double damage, triple damage times, and Dean has the HP and the Shrouded to be alive for that long, so that each stun will hit and connect. So you'll be able to, every stun will connect and hit and be a valuable hit. But he just doesn't see enough use, which is why I'm very comfortable putting Dean where he is. The very bottom of B tier is going to be the second uncommon tank. Molly is an alright common uncommon tank. Like, if you have a lot of Molly copies, she's pretty good. She's got a better heal than Jennifer, which can be very useful. But the HP is a little bit less. The damage, it's a tank, so it's not going to be very good. And it's missing spell immune, but so is Floss, so I mean, whatever. But Molly is pretty good. I feel like most people will prefer other uncommon common tanks because their charge is a lot cheaper. Jennifer works because Jennifer has a lot of health, so she will survive to use her charge like once or twice a game. But if, let's say, Floss had a 4 charge, it probably would only be used once a game. But Molly can still be good, a good tank. Next up is Sven. Really interesting, because I feel like Sven just doesn't really have a lot of good teams you can build around him. He's kind of just, oh, another rare spell immune, you know? If you want triple spell immune, use Sven. And I think that's like Also, he can kind of be good tank buster, but Shannon exists, and I think Shannon is just a better tank buster. I think heavy attack works better than strength and self, because on Shannon you can have 100% strength and then heavy attack, but then if you have 100% strength, there's no bonus damage. But we'll get to Shannon later. Sven is just interesting. He can be good, he can also not be good. Most of the time he's just kind of an annoyance, and that's not really worth a rare spot in my opinion. And right after that we have Sponsy. Sponsy is really interesting. I feel like Sponsy's health is just really low, and to heal low really helps on like spell immune teams. Like I've seen people run it with Naza, I've seen people run it with like Roxy and stuff, and it can work. But, and also the problem with Sponsy is she has Frenzy, which is good, but she has a 3 charge, and Frenzies should usually have 4 to 5 charges, because 3 is just not enough. Like, you're gonna be getting energized when you're already at 3 charges. I see that so often when playing Sponsy, or seeing other people play Sponsy. And also the heal really isn't that great. It's worse than Maya's heal, which is kind of underwhelming. I feel like it should be buffed a little bit, to be honest. Right after Sponsy, we got Swippy. Swippy can be good. Swippy is like has more health than Falcon and Pewds, but less damage. 3 charge poison. Poison's pretty good. I mean, you could just poison any target that's not sabotage immune. Works great if you like poisoned or spell immune, like your Naza or your Roxy or Bill or whatever. It can help a lot, especially on Bill, so that way you can like negate the bomb, and that helps a lot. But the thing is, he suffers the same thing. It's like Falcon, he gets hurt by Inferno, but so does Swippy. Not as much, but the damage just isn't there, so that little extra time you have to take killing him isn't that big of a deal. Swippy does work well when using like spell immune teams, because you don't have to worry about babying your Falcon or your Pewds from Infernos. Like Swippy will just live. So Swippy does have some use. Solid, pretty solid pixeling. After that we have Popo. Right after, it's basically just get it there. Yeah, the stun Swippy, a little bit more HP, which is better in my opinion. Like more HP, less damage. I think that helps it again to be even better. But it's basically the same as Swippy almost. Still good pixeling. I feel like one day I'll run Popo once I get to copies, you know? Ceres is interesting. Or get in there. It's uncommon troll. That's basically it. It's got a heavy attack every other turn, which is good. I mostly only ever see him used in all troll teams, and I think that's about it. And right after Ceres, Iggy. I see people use Iggy outside of all troll teams. Also, strength and self can be pretty good, like as its own thing, because then it just affects all turns. Especially after the buff, Iggy got so much better, because when it was 4 charge for 50, now it's only 2 charge for 25. That's a much better upgrade. And now you can see Iggy being ran with like Energize, and you get strength into every turn. I don't think I've seen anybody actually run that, but it's a possibility. I feel like people could experiment with it. Be interesting. Right after Iggy we got Jennifer. Jennifer really dropped out, like, in usage by a lot. And it wasn't even because of the nerf. Jennifer got a damage nerf. It's no deal at all. It's not a big deal at all. Like, who uses tanks for damage? But Jennifer used to be really, really good. Used in literally almost every team. Everybody carried Jennifer. You know, sabotage immunity, just good. Makes things like Cobra and that kind of stuff not used at all, because of Jennifer being so overused. But nowadays it's like people have been building teams out of semi-tanks and floss. People are not needing Jennifer anymore for the tankiness. I feel like it's still good on teams like a Naza team. Jennifer can still be good. Roxy team, I guess. Bill team. Like spell immunes really complement spell immunes. But even then, Jennifer dropped in usage. Still very good pixeling. Like, you can still run Jennifer, still do very well, but it's definitely dropped in usage. So after Shannon, we got Marzia, the second mythic. It definitely a tier up from Comet, but still, it's like mid-tier. Mid-tier is good. Marzia can definitely do some work. Like, she's got some stuff. She can do heavy attack, she can bloodlust. I've seen a lot of people do some stuff with Marzia. Marzia can definitely do a lot of stuff too. So yeah, that's Marzia. Next up is Met. I've seen a lot of people doing a lot of things with Met. I've been wanting to implement Met into one of my Agava teams for a while. I just need the copies, because I feel like Met Agava could be a great combination. It's in common, bubble random. I talked about how random isn't that good. But the thing about bubble random is that a bubble is a bubble. Like, when you see a Pixeling with a bubble, you're going to use it to block a heavy attack. It doesn't matter the stats behind it, but a heal, like for Maya's case, like you heal something, like you heal your Falcon or whatever, you still don't want him taking a heavy attack. You still don't want him getting infernoed. But with a bubble, it can take literally anything. And it doesn't cost anything, so when it's used, it's either going to block something good, a good attack, or it's going to be a -3 mana drain from them firebolting it, if they have it. So, Met's really good, pretty tanky, okay math damage for a tank, but pretty good Pixeling. I definitely want to use Met more in the future. After that we got Shannon.
Shannon is at the top of B tier because she is a very good melee assassin. Her charge attack is just insane. With a crit, full strength, triple damage, can do up to 13,000 damage at max level. But she is melee, and in a normal battle where she's not maxed and it's not triple damage and she's not full strength, charge attack does a lot of damage, and cannibalize is fantastic. But she's not a very versatile Pixeling, so she's good in very specific scenarios, but not a lot.
After Shannon, the last in B tier actually is Lola, which is another, I think this is the last uncommon common troll. Yeah, I don't see any more. Oh, Lola is just really pretty good uncommon troll. Like, having that heal helps a lot, especially in like a Roxy team, being able to heal that little bit on Roxy, just so that trolls don't target her, works well in like think of any team. Lola will do well. Really good HP, so Lola will take a few hits before going down, and yeah, just generally good Pixeling. You could really run her on any team, and she'll do fine. And then we got A tier. This is where the Pixelings start getting good. We got Kama. It's interesting placement. I think Kama has a lot of potential. I've seen them used a lot. The strength in front, 25% for 2 charges, can help a lot. I've seen people use Lulu teams where they use Kama, where they carry like 6 mana heal and energize, because they can energize Kama, and then Kama will strengthen Lulu, and then you energize Lulu to get the heavy attack. I've seen a lot of fancy stuff done with that. Kama is pretty good. I've seen a lot of people do stuff with Kama. After that we got Boris. See, this is the last. I was mistaken. This is the last uncommon common troll. Because this Boris just gives all troll teams a tank. That's the one thing they're lacking, is HP. They're all very, very squishy, and if you ran all troll, you knew that. But Boris just gives them the tank they need, and is just generally pretty good Pixeling. You can really add it to a lot of teams to do a lot of work. And that has a lot of HP. The heavy attack can be scary sometimes, like especially when it's like late in the game and it's like, oh shoot, that thing's gonna hit my like range. It's gonna hurt a lot, you know. It can definitely do some work. And after that we got Tad. Where is Tad? There's Tad.
Tad is towards the end of A tier because he is a really good Pixeling for a lot of reasons. Shrouded is not best lone passive, just especially where we're seeing a lot of trolls right now, and just not everyone's arranged. And that's a very specific passive, but he does a lot of damage, has a lot of health, and Shrouded can add on to that against any ranged. And strengthen, he can strengthen himself and someone else at the same time. It's a 25% buff, and do the same amount of damage as Pewds, and then can also buff someone like Pewds to do 25% more damage themselves. So, a pretty good Pixeling.
After Tad, we've got Gilly. There's someone who wanted to talk about Gilly, and that's gonna happen right now. But Gilly goes right here. So let's get into Gilly.
Gilly is a common pixeling, and he's also a ranged pixeling. Now, most common pixelings aren't used very much, for the few exceptions like Gato, Pewds, Boris, and of course, Gilly. Now, Gilly has a 3-charge heal, which is very good, especially because his 3-charge heal heals more than Spontee's, and Spontee is considered one of the best healers in the game. So if you just slap that on a common, you can basically fit Gilly in most teams. Not to mention that Gilly's health is also just kind of nice to have, because it's a pretty good amount of health. Now, it's no like tank, but it isn't nearly as bad as like Pewds or Falcon. So Gilly's usually able to get off like 1 or 2 heals, and especially because his heals do heal a lot, so they're very valuable. And that's why Gilly is also high tier.
After Gilly, we got Anana.
Nana, she is so hard to kill. Nana Catalyst is already a fantastic passive. It's probably one of the best, if not the best. Did also pretty good against vampires, generally any ranged. He's got a good amount of health, not bad damage, and heals a good amount every other turn. Compared with Mana Catalyst, if you have any other sort of heal spell, you can just be healing all over the place. A really great addition to any team.
And after Anana, we got Pewds.
Dude, Pewds. There is a lot of Pewds, and there's no surprise as to why there's a lot of them. He has more health than Falcon, less base damage than Falcon, which kind of balances it out. It has a 3-charge heavy attack, which is insanely good in double time. Some people consider him better than Falcon because he can't die to Infernal Crit plus Flame Bolt easily, which is understandable. But people also say he's worse than Falcon because of his lower base damage and the fact that Falcon has a better charge. No matter how you look at it, Falcon and Pewds are kind of equally matched, with Falcon having the better charge. But Pewds is not something to sleep on either. He's still insanely good for an assassin.
And then after Pewds, we got Gusto.
So Gusto is definitely very underrated. Many people even consider him the worst mythic in the game in terms of PvP. And I feel like a lot of the reason this is because of Berserk, because it's just not a very good passive. I mean, sure, every now and then it can come in clutch, but 9 times out of 10 it isn't the greatest. And Gusto also doesn't have awesome HP or damage, but Shrouded does help a lot. Shrouded is usually considered a pretty meh passive, like, you know, not the best, not the worst. It's especially good in some matchups where there's a ton of range, but it definitely helps a lot in Gusto. And he isn't the best pixeling, not the best range pixeling in anything, but he still works really well and can survive for really long, especially when put into the right team. And he also does have like a surprisingly good set of matchups. Like, he destroys many teams that have a lot of assassins and stuff, and it's just great all around mythic, very underrated, and I wish I saw more usage of him.
Okay, recent development, these two are swapped. Haha. Okay, after Pewds, after Gusto's Pewds, after Pewds is Woo. I'll put that all out, don't even worry about it. Woo is very, very fun. Very afraid of Inferno, very afraid of Stun, but there are play arounds. I've seen people do a whole lot of work. There was like this really, really good Woo main and like Silly Slimes who doesn't play the game anymore, but he was really, really good with it. Made a lot of teams with it. Very fun pixeling, a lot of like niche gimmick kind of stuff. Especially as an Agava user myself, Woo is very, very scary. The only thing is though, like, Woo has Inferno-itis and is afraid of like Stun, Inferno. It's, yeah. But there are play arounds, there are definitely workarounds. It's just not as consistent as you'd like, but it's still very good pixeling. After Woo, we got Roxy. Roxy is dropped down in ranks, I think. I think Roxy, when she came out, she was really, really good. Everybody used her, and now not as many people are using her. She's definitely dropped down in ranks. Honestly, really only using like all troll or high density of trolls in teams. I really haven't seen too many Roxy teams try to run Roxy as the only troll on the team. And they aren't that great, because Roxy really needs troll support to be good. But when used right, Roxy can be very, very good. Can definitely be very, very scary. Spell immune, very, very good. He's the first, no, it's not the first. Sven's the first spell immune. But other than Sven, this is like the next spell immune on the list. Spell immunity makes a Pixeling good. Guppy. Guppy is next. And we're gonna go more in depth on Guppy right now.
First up is Guppy. He's kind of like towards the top of A tier, because even though he's been nerfed in the past, I think at the beginning he got an 11% health nerf and a 4% damage nerf. I still think he's a really strong Pixeling for the primary reasons that he has a 2-charge stun, which currently stun is a lot in the meta, very common with Natsa, the stun spell. I see Dean getting used more and more. And also the fact he's a troll, and as we all know, trolls are used a lot, all the time, by everybody. Because I can't even name like more than like 2 common teams that don't have a troll in them. And then also starting off with Flashbang, which is his passive, which is a very good passive to have. Now it's not as good since his health isn't as high anymore, but it's still a good suicide type move, because although debatably it's not as good as Poison Burst, it can still come in clutch. Like let's say you swap right and a Falcon kills it. That critical hit basically just nearly killed the Falcon because he's also stunned now. And in a combination with most of the spells, or even just weak hit Pixelings like a Gilly or something, could finish him off. Real simple, and that's just kind of the main reason why Guppy is mid to high tier, in my opinion, and all of our opinions.
Alright, after Guppy, we've got Vlad. I am a Vlad advocate. Vlad is just really, really good. Especially when you like, if he doesn't get Inferno crit, he's good. That's like, he once again has Inferno-itis, the same with Lulu. When used right, especially with like a good support, like you're on a Nana Vlad, a Gabba Vlad, like Vlad is just really, really good. Does so much damage, tied with Marzia for the best in the game, damage-wise. Really good heavy that can just shred. Like, it can be a game changer. Vlad is definitely a game changer. Ozzy. Good. Ozzy's good. Love Ozzy. Use him a lot. Especially on teams that really don't have a good healing option, Ozzy's really good. Has decent HP, decent damage, range, which is good. And then his drain can help a lot against teams that have like really scary stuff. Like if you land on Gusto, that's gonna like take out his charges, because Gusto's charge is scary. But Ozzy can help a lot against teams like that. Like, if you hit a Lulu, that's gonna really dampen them, their team. Hit it against like Nagava, that's gonna leave a dent, assuming they don't energize afterwards from Frenzy. But Ozzy's really, really good. Also, Bomb is just like, if you're having trouble with troll teams, like, implement Ozzy. Ozzy's really good. Probably like one of the better Pixelings to deal with troll teams. Bomb is amazing. You swap it out, swap it back in when the troll is about to attack. You know, classic. Save for double damage. All those strats. You know, real, real good. And then the last of A tier. I think this is the last common. Yeah, this is the highest common. Gato. Gato is really, 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 really underrated. Seeing a lot of people use Gato, and somebody's gonna be talking about Gato right now.
Once again, just like Sorty and Felix, there's not many Gatos around. Reason being is because before his buffs, he's kind of just been blech. His health was crap back then, and that's about the only reason why he was never used, because his health was crap. Now with his buffs, on the other hand, he has insane health for a common tank. Over 3,000 health. More than Tusky, less than Hank, sadly. But he has 3.1k health. That's insane with a 3 charge bubble shield on himself. You get him early on in the game. He's probably one of the first Pixelings you get, I forgot. But if he probably is. If he is, then I'd probably say he's one of the best commons in the game. It's because he just has insane health with his bubble shield. And that's just practically, he's a common, so you're not wasting a spot if you put him in the team. He's not top tier though, despite what I think, because while he does have the 3 charge bubble shield, there are other tanks like Floss that has a better 3 charge ability called healing himself. Floss is just a tiny bit better than Gato.
Okay. The bottom of S tier, the worst of the best, is Abdu. Seb predicted it. Abdu is good. Everybody likes Abdu, unless they don't, in which case they don't. But yeah, he was right. I love Abdu. I used him a very small amount in my times, but paired with the right Pixelings, even if you don't pair him with the right Pixelings, Abdu is really good. Abdu is good. It's a heavy attack that actually increases damage while also hitting all. If you run like Swordy Abdu, that's really dangerous. Sophia Abdu can help keep him alive. You can run so many things with Abdu. Abdu is just amazing. Love Abdu. Really good. Used him once in a tournament a video or two ago. I'm probably gonna use him again. Spoiler alert. Yeah, that's all I got to say about Abdu. Next up is Floss. Floss is good. There's no arguing that. It's probably the most single-handedly used Pixeling. I use Floss in the majority of my teams. Floss is just really good. Like, just a lot of HP. Like, that much HP for a common uncommon slot. And the heal is really good. The heal really helps against, like, poison. Not that much, but, like, it helps keep Floss a little bit more alive from poison. If you can't swap out, because 2 Pixelings are dead already. But Floss is amazing. That's obvious. And next up is Naza. Naza really got hurt the last few updates. Those HP nerfs really kind of killed Naza. Like, Naza isn't even like top 5. He's like barely top 10. He's 10th apparently, because there's 9 Pixelings left, and he's the highest up so far. But still really good. You can still use Naza to see a lot of a success. Naza Umi is still a thing. It's still very good. But Naza's just so frail. Very risky running Naza. Naza gets hit like once or twice, and they have a troll, it's just game over. You have to swap Naza up, hope the tanks get low enough, and just hope your Naza doesn't get killed when re-entering the field. It just takes a lot to run Naza and do it well. But when you do, well, I guess it doesn't take that much. Naza's still good. Next up is Stefano, and oh boy, there's a lot of talk to be had about Stefano, and that's gonna be happening right now.
Alright. I'm just gonna start off with why Stefano is very good, specifically early game. Because Stefano is a Brotown mythic, and Brotown is the first world, so everybody automatically has it unlocked. And for most people, Stefano is one of, if not the first mythics they get. Because usually, you see most people that are level 15 and below, you don't really see them go into Slumberland much unless they're like really good at the game. And you also don't see them in like tier 6 or 7 or whenever the first mythic is. But, so a lot of people do get him early, and like I said earlier, spell munes are very in the meta right now, so a lot of people are using them. And by using Stefano, and like I said, Stefano, a lot of people get him early, you're going to see him a lot in the PvP, so that kind of gives you a good kind of feel for what it's like to fight against a spell mune. So that's just why I think he's really good early on. But I'll let someone else take it from here.
Yeah, Stefano is just really good. Like, you think about it, Troll, first of all, is just, like, in the meta. Trolls are very often used, so they're just really good, right? And so you make a mythic make it spell immune, make it troll, make it tanky, and have alright damage, plus another ability that gives him more damage later on if used correctly, it's just gonna be good. Like, there's no denying that. And someone else can speak.
So, Stefano, no matter what you say, is very, very versatile in many ways. He can fit in practically any deck you think of, except for like just a small amount. But not many people use that small amount, if you hopefully know what I'm talking about. Stefano, while you could argue that he has crap health and Berserk, first of all, shut up, because Boris has crap health, yet look where he is on the tier list. And if you argue that Berserk sucks on Stefano, once again, nobody asked, because that ups his damage a little bit. With his 2-charge bubble shield to himself with spell immune, it's very hard to kill him. So utilizing Berserk is not a bad idea, despite Berserk not being the greatest passive. Alright, I'm done.
I just want to bring this back up. Ever since, I'd say, more buffing and support Pixelings have been released, you've just seen Stefano climbing and climbing ever since he got hard nerfed back in, I think, January, or maybe like mid-February. But before he got hard nerfed, or I mean after he got hard nerfed, a lot of support Pixelings have been introduced to the game. Most Slumberland Pixelings are support, plus you got the good ones such as Sortie. And Sortie is very good when paired with Stefano, because Stefano's damage is already good for a troll. Not to mention you're throwing Sortie in there. Like, let's say you have Sortie, Stefano, and Floss on the same field, you are 100% getting Sortie to buff Stefano, and maybe even buff him twice if you're using the juice string. And his damage was already insane, not to mention that it could potentially be doubled before like the minute and a half mark. Just kind of makes him very good. And like Jibi said, he is very versatile with many things.
For any of you listening to this video, or watching it, whatever you're doing, that is a Stefano hater, your opinion sucks because you don't know how to use them. Goodbye.
Your opinion is wrong.
Yes.
Wow, wasn't that a great talk, you know? Yeah, see, don't you guys know why Stefano's S tier now? So good. Alright, next up is Gava. My golden child, Agava. My favorite Pixeling. S tier, I can't believe it. A lot of people really thought Agava was just B tier. And just mid tier, not that good, kinda niche. Before then, people thought it was C tier, maybe even D tier. And Gava's definitely seen a lot more use. I'd like to pretend I helped out with that. I'd like to pretend my videos made Gava more used. I think people just finally figured out what they were doing. And Gava has so many different team builds you can do. And it's just a lot of fun using a Gava. And if you haven't tried a Gava out, try it out. Watch my videos for a good team build, or maybe make your own. You never know. Might make something that even I'd be impressed with. But yeah, Agava's a lot of fun. And I'll tell you why Agava's good. Let me actually do that. The 4-charge bubble, especially with Frenzy, you're going to be doing that thing 2-3-4 times a match. And if they don't have Firebolt, they're just going to have to hit that bubble with the Pixeling. And, well, you're not going to be doing it 3-4 times a match. Take that back. But you're going to have to be hitting that bubble if you don't have Firebolt. And if you do have Firebolt, great. -6 mana right off the bat. It is an absolute mana drain. They have to constantly firebolting those bubbles, and you'll just be getting them up again. Especially if they poison Agava. If that's the case, they're going to be in some trouble. But Agava has so many good combinations. I haven't even talked about Poison Burst yet. Like, I think people forget Agava's also a bomb. I don't think they forget, but like, it's just they don't think about it because like Agava is a bomb. It is like the perfect anti-troll team. You got the bubbles, which kind of hurt. It does honestly pretty good damage for like a tanky unit. It's doing really good damage consistently against the middle target. Always bursting up bubbles, which is very annoying for all troll teams. And then it can be used as a bomb later on to kill a troll. It's really good anti-troll. It's amazing. And after Gabba is Felix. Somebody's gonna be talking about Felix right now.
I don't see a lot of Felix as much as I want, because with his buff that happened a few months ago, he became not only a threat, but a monster. Just take into consideration that he has Bloodlust and Vampire. Now, Vampire on a Pixeling with lowish health, that's kind of alright, because if he gets hit, he can just heal a little bit, despite Felix having pretty decent health for a ranged. But, my god, what kind of crack were they smoking when they put Bloodlust on this guy? Because if he kills anybody, he becomes top priority threat. He is unstoppable. His health and damage isn't something you should sleep on either. He has assassin levels of damage, and he has support levels of health. It's just, he's really, really good, and he can fit in many teams.
Alright, after Felix is Bill. Somebody's going to be talking about Bill right now.
Now, there's a reason why Bill got nerfed, guys. Because he is still pretty stupid. He wouldn't be nerfed if he didn't have spell immune. Because here's the thing. Spell immune with poison burst. This is quite possibly one of the very few Pixelings where when I saw him, I was like, alright, one of the dev teams must have spilled coffee on the computer, because there's no way they thought this was a smart idea. Bill is just too strong. It's the only way you can kill Bill without being affected by his poison burst is by simply, using a Sabo inflicting Pixeling like Yumi, Slippy, just to name a few. You can only kill them properly with Sabos, which it's very hard to do because of some people having really good swaps. Bill has a 2-charge poison for a ranged Pixeling. That's insane. His health and damage are also insane. Holy crap. He's top tier, possibly one of the best ranged Pixelings in the game.
And next up, Zord. Zord is interesting. Zord is great. Definitely deserves the title of best mythic in the game, in my opinion. And there are so many niche teams you can run with Zord. Has really good HP, so that you can utilize Frenzy pretty well. Strength and all is just great. And what else has he got? He's got Cannibalize, which is the second, other than Shannon. Shannon used to be the only Cannibalize, now Zord has it, and now look at Zord being the best mythic in the game. But, really, really, very good. Zord is just amazing. And I can see why we all saw it. He's definitely the best in the game. I wish I had more things to say about him, I really don't. After Zord, it's Omi.
Umi is a very good Pixeling for several reasons. It's just good in every single category. First of all, you have Spell Immune, which is a top 1 or 2 PvP passive in the game. Very good to have. Also, Umi's stats are very good for a Saboteur, and especially because the 2-charge poison. Poison is just generally a great thing to have, as well as the fact it's on a Pixeling like Umi, who is also a troll. And when you're withering away at people slowly with Umi attacking, that poison can just completely mean the difference. Because you're already hitting them with Umi, which usually does about, for tanks it does about 10 to 15% of their health, and for assassins it can do 80% if it gets a crit or something else. So just that poison just kind of helps speed up the process, as well as Umi has been in the past meta since Umi was first founded, and Umi is also in the current meta because you see a lot of Natsu plus Umi together because you have 2 spell immunes for good damage. Natsu's health is kind of low, but Umi is very fine. And Umi's just generally a great pixeling to have. So like, if you want more damage on a team and you don't know what last rare you should put in, just slap Umi in there. And that's why Umi is just a very good pixel.
Falcon. Alright, next up is Falcon. Falcon's great. Love Falcon. 2 charge, just easy damage, high damage overall on his base. Low health, but if you're running a heal spell, it's not like a one-shot on Inferno at full health, so it's not ridiculous. If it gets a crit though, it's likely not to survive. And it does get hurt by just like firebolt into troll attacks. But if you can protect Falcon, Falcon can dish out so much damage. You see it in every team. Only takes an uncommon slot and just does that much damage. Think an uncommon slot could be able to do that much damage and just change the game from a losing game to a winning game. Really good lead unit, really good pocket unit to have in the back is just really good. Love Falcon. Although a lot of people will argue Pewds is better than Falcon, the general consensus is Falcon is better, and just Falcon's good. Yeah, like especially if you run Energize on Falcon, charge every turn. It's just really good. There's so many things you can do. It's really good. Alright, after Falcon, second best pixel in the game, Sortie. Really funny, because a lot of people thought he was just really bad. And then now look at him. He's second best in the game.
So, same thing with Felix. I don't see as much Sortie as there should be. Now, you could argue that, Sortie's melee, who cares about melee? Well, shut up, because he, not only does he have tankish health, yeah, you heard me right, he's considered a tank despite the game telling you he's not a tank. I mean, 2.8k health, that's not something you should look over. But as soon as you realize that he has strengthened the front for 50%, along with his damage, if he strengthens himself, not only is he a tank, but he's a tank buster. Now, I don't know what anybody's thinking when I say that, but the proper response should be, holy crap, that's broken, because it kind of is. He doesn't really deserve a nerf, because he's well balanced, because, well, most tanks are balanced, because you could just slap on a demi or a poison and boom, they'll just be chipped away. But he's really good, and you can practically replace most rare tanks with him, because he's really top tier. He's top tier for a reason.
Alright, last best pixel in the game. Just kidding, she's D. Oh, just kidding again. Sophia. Really good. We're going to talk about why she's the best pixel in the game right now.
So Sophia is definitely the best rare in the game, debatably just the best pixeling in the game, because Sophia is one of 2 pixelings in the game to have the mana catalyst ability, and spells are very used in the current meta, past metas, and probably the future metas. Spells will be very valuable, and even though it's 20%, that 20% is still very valuable, because you're able to just keep pumping out spells over and over. Also, the fact she does have a lot of health, she's quite the semi-tank. I'd say out of the few semi-tanks in the game, she is one of the most tankiest of them. Also, her damage output is very good, so when paired with like Zord, even if you only get a 25% buff, Sophia can still be a mad threat. And then the 3-charge bubble shield isn't anything incredible, but it's still just kind of a nice, like, cherry on top for her.
Okay. Wasn't that a lot of fun? This is gonna be a long video. I need to stop talking so much. Good. Yeah. This is tier list. It's very good. I'd say this is the most accurate you can get. If you disagree, comment. I really want to hear your opinion. Do that. But yeah, I guess I'll just download it right now, post it somewhere, subscribe,